Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Repo Rod.
All right, well, the day you get patched, you don't know it's coming. I mean, some guys know it's coming. I knew it was coming sooner or later. I don't remember exactly where I was when I had gotten patched, But it was a good day, man. We had a pretty good party afterward. No outside, no citizens. It was just dudes that we were in the club. We all got together, man, celebrated. To me, it really didn't feel any different to me. I was still there with the same ritual. The only thing that changed for me was I was a full member, not a prospect anymore. But I still treated everybody with the same respect, prospect. I can give you, for instance, we'll get into it later on. I was a vice president of Pennsylvania Nomads, and I'm down in Kentucky for a thing that was going on where, there was a pretty good chance of having some trouble at it. And I'm out at the street with all the prospects that are doing security. I'm standing out there with them, and a member from somewhere comes up to me and goes, what the hell are you doing? And I go, what do you mean, what am I doing? Man, it's dangerous as fuck standing out there. I go, yeah, I know it is. Well, man, plus you're flying, that you're the vice president, you're a target. And I go, yeah, okay. And what's that got to do with anything? Because you see all those guys out there doing security, I got their back. And hopefully if something happens, they got my back. But you know what? When those prospects, if they make it, don't make it, whatever. But when they become members, hopefully they're going to remember me standing out there with them as a vice president, standing with them and teaching them true brotherhood, not bullshit brotherhood, not a lie. If you become my brother one day, I want you to remember I was the guy that would stand out there with you no matter what the consequences, no matter what could possibly happen, because I think that's the best way that you can teach somebody to be the best member that they could possibly be. Don't bully somebody because you're a patch. Don't treat them like they're a piece of garbage because they're a prospect. There's things that you got to do and ways, but I think you get more out of a person on a final guideline of give them respect and show them that, when they become that person one day, if they make it, that this is how you should treat the people coming in. Because if I'm laying down next to you and bullets are flying at me, I don't want you to look at me and go, boy, I hope this son of a bitch gets hit with one of these because he was a shithead to me when I was a prospect. I'd rather have that guy going, here, jump on top of me. I got you. I remember what you did for me.
Have you seen some members abusing their power?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. There's power struggles. There's guys that step outside of the bylaws, whether they hold a higher ranking position through something or they're politically connected to numerous different charters. They can make different moves that shouldn't be done.
What was it like? Did you feel like you got treated a lot different once you got the patch?
Well, I'll say once I got patched, I can remember the ones that were shitty when I was prospecting. For an instance, there was a member I had met in the early stages of prospecting. We were up, I think, in Hartford for an anniversary party, and it was about 15 below zero. 40-mile-an-hour wind, and we're standing outside doing security. I think he was a Fairbanks, Alaska president at that time. He's outside in a T-shirt and a flannel shirt, shooting the shit with me. I'm freezing my ass off. He goes to his truck, gets me another jacket to put on, gives me his card with his phone number on it, and he says to me, one day when you make member, I said, well, if I make it. And he grabbed me by the shirt and says, let me fucking tell you something. Never say if I make it. He says, I've been around a long time and I can tell you, you're going to make it. You're going to be one day. And he says, this is my card with my phone number on it. make sure I'm the first person you call when you get patched. And he was. I always saved his card. And I made sure he was the first phone call that I made.
It felt good to call him that day, right?
It felt great to call him because I'd only seen him a couple other times. When I called him, I says, "Hey man, I don't know if you'll remember me." And I told him where I had first met him, and he's like, "Man, I remember you." He said, "You were freezing your ass off that night." I go, "Yeah, so it was." And I think we were out there for about 10 hours in that -degree weather with heavy wind and snow blowing, and that was cold. That was cold. And burn barrels that were going and stuff, they didn't do nothing. They
You
did
guys
nothing.
ride your bikes in the snow too?
Well, I'll tell you what, as we had talked when Bear's funeral,
Yeah.
I left out of Jersey and rode up. And it was sleeting, raining, snowing, and I rode. There was a lot of bikes at that funeral. I can remember guys from Baltimore, they trailered their bikes up into New York and then rode the rest of the way. And I rode home in it. I rode in the rain. I rode in the cold. You know, I put a rain suit on top of my dry riding suit in the winter if it was shitty. And, you know, if I'd look at the weather, I'd look out the window, and if there wasn't too much snow on the ground, I'd give it hell.
It's still dangerous to be riding with the snow. And
Well, being a Hells Angel's dangerous. It's, you know, riding in the snow ain't nothing.
yeah, the least of your worries, right?
Yeah, it's the least of your worries. Is exactly right. You know, not far back, and you know, I'll mention one guy here, Pee Wee, Charlie Goldsmith. There was a good brother of ours who was also out of the club, BA up in Michigan. I got a phone call. I forget what day he was put to rest, but I got a phone call the night or the morning before his actual funeral. Told me that BA had passed away, and I knew BA, and I was like, "Wow." I knew his health wasn't good and everything, and I said, "I'm going to be there." And brother, don't worry about it, man. You don't have to be there. And I said, "Nah." So I actually hopped in my car, and because I had worked all day, I jumped in my car, and I'm like, I'll pull over and sleep a couple hours behind the wheel, and then I got like 300 miles out, and my alternator took a shit in my car. I got picked up, came back to my house, got on my bike. I rode almost 900 miles nonstop.
Wow.
Pulled into BA's tattoo parking lot. I'm standing there, and they're like, "Holy shit, you just rode 900 miles to come to BA's funeral?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah." Plus the extra mileage of back and forth prior to that. So I'm awake for like a day and a half now, exhausted. I see this bike coming down the road, and it's Pee Wee. And he pulls in, and he just, you know, I actually got a video of it. He's like, "Holy shit, brother." And he stops his bike and gets off. He's like, "Oh my, you're here?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, the bike's all packed up, man. I'm here." He's like, "I can't believe you made it." And I'm like, "I wouldn't miss it, man. You know, we might not be angels anymore, but I wouldn't miss it." Hung out. We did ride after his viewing. We did the funeral. We did the funeral run, you know, after it and everything. And went back. We had some dinner that night, and Pee Wee and I actually had the room together. Passed out for about 4 hours. Got on that bike, and I came another 900 miles back home.
When did you first meet Pee Wee?
Early 2000, probably somewhere in there.
What year did you become a member?
Early 2000 something. Honestly, I don't remember right now. I've had a couple of bumps on the head since then.
Yeah. Have you ever met George when you were in the club?
Yes, I did. Yep, George Christie. I met him.
What was your experience?
Met Sonny.
Sonny too.
Met Sonny several times. George Christie. He's a great individual. True brother. I respect him to this day, and I think he did phenomenal things for the club. You know, like many people, there comes a point in time where this is it. This is enough. You know, a lot of people can. I've heard, you know, people say George is a rat. George wasn't no rat. You want to say, well, Sonny called the cops on his old lady, but that was okay because it was Sonny.
I mean, she was having a medical emergency, wasn't she?
I don't know. I don't know the whole bottom line on it, but I heard it had to do a little bit something with a domestic or something. But yeah, he picked the phone up and called the police. They had to all the paperwork on it, but that was Sonny Barger, so it was okay.
Do you remember the first time you met Sonny Barger?
Yeah. Yep. I was actually with a chick then called Boots. She had been around the club for years. We were walking past him. He was busy talking to a whole bunch of people. And he turned and he said to her, "Hey, Boots, the hell, you're going to walk by me and not even say hello?" And I turned and I looked at her. I'm like, "You know Sonny that well?" And we go over and, you know, we're shooting the shit with him. We walk away and I remember looking at her and she's like, "What? What?" And I said, "You know Sonny Barger that well?" She goes, "I've been around here a long time." It was just, you know, I'd never seen him call out some other lady. And, you know, he told me, man, he said, "You got a stand-up gal standing next to you. If anything ever goes bad, you won't have to worry about her."
So can you walk me through what it's like to have an old lady around the club?
Yes and no, because I pretty much didn't have an old lady much while I was around the club because of multiple reasons. Number one, they were a pain in the ass. Number two, they caused trouble. Number three, they get members thrown out because they don't know how to shut up. And I know probably a lot of your viewers are women, but that's a man's club. It's structured in a man's world, and that's how it is. You know, I'm not putting women down, but you know, the club business is club business. It's not club business, your business and your old lady's business. And a lot of them can't stand that. Or they become what they call the patch queens, where they, you know, they become their own imitation female Hell's Angels, which they're not. You know, I can remember hearing the dude's old lady one time, "Well, if I was president," well, bitch, you're not. And you never will be. You'll still sit out on the bench in front of the house while the members are inside, like it or not. But I found it was a lot easier not to have somebody while you were there, because I didn't answer to nobody. I did my thing. I went to work, got done work, and went to being a Hell's Angel.
Once someone's with a woman, if it's your old lady, no other member is supposed to be with her, right?
Oh, no. Not in Hell's Angels, anyway. I don't know how these other ones.
Have you ever seen that happen?
Not in the Hell's Angels, no. I never saw anyone stupid enough to mess with some other Hell's Angels old lady, because that would be probably the second stupidest thing they could do next to being a rat.
Have you ever seen a woman like break up with a girl and then go with another member?
Oh yeah, yep. And you know, as far as I understand it, how that rolls is, you know, say just use the name Becky. Becky and I start seeing one another. I find out, well, Becky was with a member in California. Okay, I need to pick the phone up and call that member in California and say, "Hey, man, you know, this is who I am, and I got this girl, Becky. I started to see what's the deal with her. Is everything good? Because you're not with her no more. Number one, I want to make sure there's not a problem with her. And number two, I want to make sure you don't have a problem with it. Because if you wind up with a problem with it and I didn't call you and at least say, hey, you know, what is it? Then I'm pretty sure we're going to wind up with a problem." So it's giving respect. You know, you give respect to your brother. You make sure of what you're doing before you do it.
Now, have you ever seen any accidents during your time going on all these road trips?
Oh, many. There was a, I don't think where he was. There was a Pennsylvania member, York County member, going out to a USA run. Big dude, man, big gym guy. He wound up having an accident, flipped his bike multiple times, had broken neck, other things. You know, he was, like I said, really big. So he didn't know he had all these problems after he had that accident. And I can remember getting a call from one of the York County guys. Hey, man, can you get you guys together there and come on out to Dave's house? And I'm like, yeah, why? What's up? He's dying. I go, what do you mean he's dying? He said, yeah, man, ever since he had that accident going to the run, and that was not a long time afterwards. And when I walked into Dave's house, Dave was, from being a big burly guy, he looked like my pinky. His clothes were draped off of him. His head was all like locked down on his side. And I remember he came up, gave me a hug, and he's like, yeah, man, he goes, I'm going to die. You know that, right, man? I don't know if they told you that. Since that accident. And I'm like, God damn. I seen a guy in Baltimore go down, head slid right into the curb, no helmet. Poop. He didn't die, but man, he was in the hospital forever with brain injury. And there was, I forget where, there was, I wasn't actually there, but there was a Jersey guy that got killed on his way home from, I think, Laconia. Saw a couple dudes go down when we were on a run somewhere in Pennsylvania. One guy come up over a bridge with a curve too quick and lost it. He went right over the railing down the embankment. Oh yeah, you know, we don't ride like 55, 60. We ride like 105 and 150, whatever.
It's like nose to tail, right? It's
Oh yeah. There's no 25-mile-an-hour zone you laugh at. No, it go as fast as you can or as slow as you want. You know, my old lady still complains because I like to ride down the road at about 120, 130. I can feel her legs squeezing me like, oh God, please slow down. Nah, get used to it. Hang on.
it's an adrenaline rush, right?
Well, I kind of joke like I can't ride 55. I'll swerve like I'm drunk because I don't even know how to ride fast.
Now, when you guys are riding in the pack, have you ever seen an accident while you guys are in the pack?
Yeah, I'd seen a couple of accidents in the pack. Took down a few different members in that accident at a time. But I got to say this is, you know, you're riding next to your brother and your brothers so much that it becomes like brushing your teeth in the morning when you get up. You're just repetitious. And I always tried to ride with, you know, a certain few guys that I rode with all the time near me and when we went places, because I was around you long enough and you've been around me long enough. You know what I'm going to do and I know what you're going to do. And, you know, if something happens in front of us, without saying anything, we already know how one another's going to react and which way to go and what to do. It's just second nature.
Now, when you're on your way coming up in the club, was there any altercations with any opposition?
Well, there was always stuff going on in Philly because of all the ex-pagans that, you know, they allowed to become Hell's Angels, which should have never taken place.
How did you feel about the ex-members?
I felt great about Tommy. The rest of them that were, you know, I don't want to offend the pagans, but those guys that were ex-pagans, they were fucking cowards when they were Hell's Angels. They were liars and cowards. Not stand-up guys. I had no time, nothing for them. You know, I mentioned it earlier, Tommy became a Hell's Angel. He was a true Hell's Angel. You know, a lot of people can wear the patch, but to become a true Hell's Angel, you got to work at it, and you got to be righteous. And I saw so many guys after Tommy was murdered who Yeah, man, I'm this, I'm that. I was this, I was that.
They're talking about when they were in the Pagans, they were this and that, right?
Yeah. Boast about who they were and how long they were this and that. And, you know, I swung the door open in the back of the house one time. Well, man, you want to come on out? They're telling me there might be a day we need to go out that door. Well, I open that door. Now's as good a time as any, man. Bring your ass on out here. Bring it out and let's get this done. Oh, I wasn't saying it. No, you were saying that. You exactly said that. So bring your punk ass on outside and get it on. But you don't come outside because you're a bitch. You're a lot of bullshit talk. I got no respect for him. None.
How long into you being a member does Tommy get killed? And what were some of the issues you guys were having with the Pagans?
Man, there was issues left and right with the Pagans, you know? And partially because the guys that were there, they were fucking cowards, you know? They were cowards, man. They were hiders. They were patch wearing sissies. They didn't stand. There was a couple dudes that, you know, could put it on if you had to and stuff. I do believe give them credit where it's due, but a majority of them, no, they didn't do anything. They didn't go anywhere. If they did, it was like you had to drag them there. None of them would ride. None of them would ride to the Philadelphia clubhouse after Tommy had gotten killed. It's too dangerous. I'm riding my bike every week. Every week you got church, I'm riding.